Good evening, Beezy. As you settle in tonight, let's take a moment to acknowledge the incredible dedication and care you pour into each day. Your commitment to nurturing others is truly admirable, but tonight, this time is solely for you. It's your turn to be cared for, to be soothed, and to embrace the tranquility that you so richly deserve. Imagine for a moment the gentle embrace of serenity, wrapping around you like a soft, comforting blanket. Tonight is about letting go of the day's worries and immersing yourself in a world of peacefulness and rest. Remember, Beezy, caring for yourself is not just a luxury, it's a necessity. Your well-being is the foundation from which you can continue to spread kindness and compassion to the world. As you find yourself in your cozy haven, I invite you to make yourself as comfortable as possible. Whether it's nestling into your favorite chair or lying down in your bed, enveloped by soft, welcoming sheets, find that spot that feels just right. Feel the support beneath you, holding you, offering a place of rest and relaxation. This is your sanctuary, a place where calmness and peace reign supreme. Now, let's focus on your breath, a simple yet profound tool that bridges the mind and body. Gently close your eyes if you haven't already and turn your attention inward. Take a slow, deep breath in, feeling the air fill your lungs, bringing with it a sense of calm and clarity. Hold it there for just a moment, basking in the stillness, and then release it slowly, letting all the stress and tension melt away with your exhale. Feel your shoulders relax, your body soften, and your thoughts quieten with each breath. With each inhale, imagine drawing in tranquility and peace. With each exhale, envision releasing any lingering thoughts or concerns. Let your breathing become a gentle rhythm, a soothing lullaby that whispers of relaxation and comfort. As you continue to breathe deeply and evenly, allow my words to float through your mind, painting a picture of a serene and enchanting world, just waiting for you to explore. This story, crafted especially for you, Beezy, is a journey to a place where dreams blend seamlessly with reality, where the mind finds solace and the spirit is gently lulled into a state of blissful repose. So settle in, Beezy. Let the world outside fade away as we embark on this peaceful journey together. Let's begin. In the heart of a dense, fog-laden forest lay the small town of Shadowmere, a place whispered about in hushed tones and cloaked in an aura of mystery. It was a town that seemed frozen in time, with cobblestone streets, ancient architecture, and an ever-present mist that clung to the air like a lingering secret. Shadowmere was known by those who dared to speak of it as a haven for the supernatural, a crossroads where legends and reality blurred into one. Ilara, a young woman with an insatiable curiosity for the occult and the unseen, found herself drawn to Shadowmere. She had spent her life poring over ancient texts and obscure folklore, her heart beating faster at tales of the mystical and unexplainable. When the opportunity arose to move to Shadowmere for a research project, she leapt at the chance, unaware that her life was about to intertwine with beings straight out of her beloved stories. Upon her arrival, the town greeted her with an eerie quietude, as if it were holding its breath, watching her every move. The townsfolk were polite, yet distant, their eyes often flickering with unspoken knowledge. Ilara couldn't shake the feeling that there was more to this quaint town than met the eye, a secret lurking beneath its tranquil exterior. It was during her first night in Shadowmere that Ilara first encountered Damien. He appeared to her as a silhouette against the moonlit sky, his features obscured by the shadows. Damien was a vampire, centuries old, with a brooding demeanor that belied a tumultuous past. He had witnessed the rise and fall of empires, the changing of eras, and had long since retreated into the shadows of Shadowmere, weary of the human world. Yet there was something about Alara that piqued his interest, a spark of life that he hadn't felt in decades. Elsewhere in Shadowmere roamed Lucas, a werewolf with a magnetic presence and a heart fiercely loyal to his pack. Lucas was the embodiment of both the wildness of the forest and the charm of a bygone era. He walked the line between his animalistic nature and his human side with a grace that few of his kind possessed. Upon hearing of the newcomer, Lucas found himself inexplicably drawn to Alara, curious about the human who dared to venture into their hidden world. As Alara settled into her new life, strange occurrences began to unfold around her. Whispered voices in the night, figures flitting through the trees, the feeling of being watched. All these things made her question what secrets Shadowmere held. Unbeknownst to her, she had stepped into a world where the line between myth and reality was indistinguishably blurred, and her presence had already begun to stir the waters of a long-standing truce between the vampires and the werewolves of Shadowmere. Thus began the tale of Alara, Damien, and Lucas, a tale of forbidden love, ancient rivalries, and the quest for coexistence between the supernatural and the human. In the enigmatic town of Shadowmere, their stories would intertwine in ways none could have foreseen, setting the stage for a saga that would challenge the very fabric of their beings. As the days passed, Alara's fascination with Shadowmere grew. She spent her afternoons wandering the town's labyrinthine streets, her evenings poring over ancient texts in the local library. It was during one of these nightly sojourns that she first felt his presence, an otherworldly aura that made the hairs on the back of her neck stand up. Damien watched from the shadows, his gaze fixed on Alara. He had seen many humans come and go, but there was something different about her. Her fearless curiosity, the way she looked at the world as if seeing beyond its veil, intrigued him. He found himself drawn to her, an attraction that both excited and tormented him. As a vampire, he had long suppressed his yearning for human connection, aware of the dangers it posed both to himself and others. Yet, with Alara, the struggle felt more intense, as if she was slowly unraveling the tight control he had over his nature. One misty evening, as Alara walked home from the library, she felt an unmistakable sense of being followed. Turning down a narrow alley, she came face to face with Damien. The moonlight illuminated his pale, striking features, and his eyes held a depth that seemed to span centuries. Alara's heart raced, not from fear, but from an overwhelming sense of familiarity, as if she had known him in another life. "Who are you?" she asked, her voice steady despite the strange energy that filled the air between them. "I am someone who shares your interest in the secrets of this town," Damien replied, his voice a low, mesmerizing timbre. Their conversation flowed effortlessly, with Damien carefully avoiding revealing his true nature. Yet Alara could sense there was much more to him than what met the eye. She felt a pull towards him, a desire to uncover the mystery that he represented. The following day, as Alara sat in a quaint cafe, pondering her encounter with Damien, Lucas entered. His arrival was like a gust of wind, changing the atmosphere the moment he stepped through the door. His ease found Alara's, and a warm smile spread across his face. Lucas exuded a natural charisma that was hard to ignore, and Alara found herself drawn to his vibrant energy. Lucas approached her table, introducing himself with an easy confidence. They quickly struck up a conversation, and Alara found herself laughing and sharing stories with him. Unlike her encounter with Damien, being with Lucas felt like basking in the warmth of the sun. He was open, engaging, and there was an undeniable spark between them. As they talked, Ilara couldn't help but notice the way Lucas occasionally glanced over his shoulder, as if looking out for someone. It was then she realized the subtle tension that seemed to underlie his cheerful demeanor. When she inquired about it, Lucas hesitated, then spoke of an old friend, a relationship marked by both camaraderie and rivalry. Unbeknownst to Ilara, Lucas was subtly probing her experience in Shadowmere, gauging her awareness of its supernatural residence. Like Damien, he was intrigued by her, but his approach was different, less guarded, more willing to explore where this connection might lead. As Ilara left the cafe, her mind buzzed with thoughts of Damien and Lucas. Both men were enigmas, each captivating in their own way. She felt herself being pulled into their world, a world that was slowly revealing itself to be much more complex and mystifying than she had ever imagined. That night, as Ilara lay in bed, the moon casting shadows across her room, she realized that Shadowmere was changing her, drawing out a part of her that she had kept hidden, her desire for the unknown, for the magical and unexplainable. And as she drifted into sleep, her dreams were filled with images of a pale man with haunting eyes and a charismatic stranger with a disarming smile, both beckoning her into the depths of a world she was only just beginning to understand. Ilara's days in Shadowmere morphed into a quest, driven by an insatiable curiosity to unearth the town's enigmatic layers. The more she explored, the more she felt the veil of normalcy slipping, revealing glimpses of the extraordinary. Her encounters with Damien and Lucas only fueled her determination to uncover the truth. One fog-shrouded evening, Ilara stumbled upon an ancient, hidden section of the library. Dust-laden books and forgotten manuscripts whispered secrets of a world where the lines between myth and reality blurred. It was here, amidst these relics of the past, that Ilara began to piece together the puzzle of Shadowmere's true nature, and of the two enigmatic men who had so captivated her. Her discoveries led her to confront Damien. Under the weight of her probing gaze, Damien finally revealed his true identity. He was a vampire, centuries old, forever caught in the twilight of existence. His story unfolded like a tapestry of sorrow, love, and loss, a testament to the burden of immortality. Damien spoke of his struggle to coexist with humanity, of the isolation that his nature imposed upon him, and of his longing for a connection that transcended the barriers of time. Ilara listened, her heart aching with empathy for the solitary being before her. Damien's revelation shattered her perception of reality, opening her mind to the possibilities of the supernatural living alongside the mundane. Lucas, sensing a shift in Ilara's understanding, chose a moonlit night to share his truth. In the heart of the forest, under the watchful eyes of ancient trees, he transformed into his werewolf form. The transformation was both terrifying and awe-inspiring, revealing the primal, untamed nature of his being. Lucas's story was one of loyalty, pack, and the struggle to maintain balance between his human side and his wolf nature. He spoke of the deep-rooted conflict between his kind and the vampires, a feud as old as time. Ilara, now standing at the crossroads of a hidden world, found herself deeply entwined in the lives of both Damien and Lucas. Her heart, once solely focused on the pursuit of knowledge, now fluttered with the budding tendrils of love, a love that was complex and fraught with danger. As days turned into nights, the tension between the three intensified. Ilara was drawn to Damien's enigmatic allure, his profound understanding of the world, and the melancholic loneliness that she yearned to soothe. With Lucas, she found a fiery passion, a connection that was earthy and alive, mirroring the untamed spirit of the forest. The love triangle that formed was not just a convergence of hearts, but a symbol of the greater conflict that plagued Shadowmere. Alara found herself at the center of a centuries-old feud, her very presence a catalyst for change. Whispers of her unusual relationships with Damien and Lucas began to stir among the townsfolk and the supernatural inhabitants of Shadowmere. Some viewed her as a bridge between the divided worlds, while others saw her as a threat to the fragile peace that existed. As Alara grappled with her feelings, she also understood that her choices would have consequences far beyond her own heart. She was no longer just a seeker of truth. She had become a key player in a saga that intertwined human, vampire, and werewolf fates. The mysteries of Shadowmere continued to unravel around Alara, revealing a tapestry of love, loyalty, and conflict. Her journey had led her to the heart of the supernatural, to a place where legends breathed and walked among the living. In the midst of this, Alara stood, torn between the love of a vampire and a werewolf, between two worlds that had been at odds for centuries. As the moon rose high over Shadowmere, casting its silvery glow over the town, Alara knew that the choices she made would alter the course of her life forever. And in the shadows, Damien and Lucas watched, their hearts entwined with hers in a dance as old as time itself. As Alara delved deeper into the enigmatic history of Shadowmere, the tapestry of the town's secrets began to unravel, revealing a dark and tumultuous past. Hidden within the pages of ancient texts and the whispered stories of elders, she discovered the origin of a bitter feud that had defined the town for centuries, a long-standing conflict between vampires and werewolves. The feud, born from a tragic tale of betrayal and a struggle for power, had created a rift in Shadowmere. It was a divide that ran deep, a wound that had never truly healed, flaring up through the generations. This discord had shaped the town, creating an unspoken rule of separation between the vampire and werewolf communities. Amidst this revelation, Alara's relationship with Damien and Lucas grew more profound, challenging the age-old prejudices that governed the town. Her love for them was a symbol of unity in a world divided by hatred and mistrust. With Damien, she found an unspoken understanding and a connection that transcended time. In Lucas, she discovered a passionate and protective partner, deeply rooted in the present. However, their forbidden romance was not without its perils. The town watched, some with hopeful eyes and others with growing resentment. The union of human, vampire, and werewolf was unheard of, a defiance of centuries-old norms. It was in this climate of rising tension that a new threat emerged, a villainous figure shrouded in mystery who sought to exploit the supernatural divide for personal gain. This antagonist, a shadowy character with a history of manipulation and power play, viewed Alara's relationships as a threat to the delicate balance of Shadowmere. This villain, known only as the Nightshade, began to sow discord, manipulating events to incite anger and fear among the townspeople and supernatural beings alike. Rumors spread like wildfire, whispers of an impending conflict stirred the air, and acts of sabotage against both vampire and werewolf communities became more frequent. Alara, caught in the middle of this escalating conflict, found herself in a precarious position. Her love for Damien and Lucas was now more than a personal affair. It had become a symbol of potential harmony between two warring factions. The Nightshade, aware of Alara's significance, began to weave a web of deceit, aiming to turn her into a pawn in his quest for control. Damien and Lucas, aware of the growing danger, found themselves uniting despite their differences to protect Ilara and the town they called home. They realized that the only way to counteract the Nightshade's malevolence was to bridge the gap between their communities, to foster an alliance that could withstand the forces seeking to tear them apart. As Ilara, Damien, and Lucas navigated these troubled waters, they faced not only external threats, but also the internal turmoil of their complex relationship. Their love, a beacon in the darkness, was now a battleground, caught in the crossfire of a feud that threatened to consume everything they held dear. The stage was set for a confrontation, one that would determine the fate of their love and the future of Shadowmere. In a town where shadows whispered and legends came to life, the trio stood together, ready to face the Nightshade and heal the rift that had long divided their world. In the heart of Shadowmere's turmoil, Ilara found herself ensnared in a whirlwind of emotions, the likes of which she had never known. Her heart, once a quiet harbor, now echoed with the tumultuous waves of love and conflict. The revelation of the town's hidden feud and the rising threat of the Nightshade only intensified her internal struggle. Ilara's love for Damien was a journey into the depths of the unknown, a connection that transcended the bounds of time. With him, she experienced a love that was profound and otherworldly, yet shadowed by the inherent dangers of his vampire nature. Damien, with his centuries-old wisdom and melancholic soul, offered her a glimpse into a world of eternal night, where emotions were amplified to an intensity that both exhilarated and frightened her. Conversely, her bond with Lucas was a testament to the vibrancy and immediacy of life. His werewolf nature brought a raw, unbridled passion to their relationship, a fierce protectiveness that both comforted and overwhelmed her. Lucas, with his deep ties to the natural world and his pack, embodied a sense of belonging and community that Ilara found deeply attractive. The emotional turmoil of loving two such different beings weighed heavily on Ilara's heart. She understood the complexities of her relationships with Damien and Lucas, each fraught with their own set of challenges and dangers. Her love for them was a delicate balance, a dance between light and shadow, where every step could tip the scales. Meanwhile, Damien wrestled with his own internal battle. His growing love for Ilara stirred within him a tumult of emotions he had long since suppressed. As a vampire, he was governed by instincts that he had meticulously controlled for centuries, but his feelings for Ilara threatened to unravel that control. He feared that his nature, if left unchecked, could bring harm to the woman he loved. Damien was caught between the desire to be close to Ilara and the need to protect her from the darker aspects of his being. Lucas, on the other hand, faced a conflict of loyalty and love. As a prominent member of his werewolf pack, he had responsibilities and expectations to uphold. His relationship with Ilara, a human deeply involved with a vampire, put him at odds with his pack's long-standing views and traditions. Lucas was torn between his duty to his kin and his undeniable love for Ilara. This divide within him grew with each passing day, as the pack's unease towards his choices became more apparent. As the Nightshade's machinations grew more sinister, the trio's personal struggles seemed to mirror the larger conflict engulfing Shadowmere. Ilara, Damien, and Lucas found themselves at the heart of a battle that was as much about their own identities and desires as it was about the fate of the town. In this chapter of their saga, the lines between love and duty, past and present, human and supernatural, were blurred. The heart struggle was not just a matter of choosing whom to love, but also of understanding the profound implications of that love in a world where such unions were fraught with peril. In the stillness of the night, under the watchful gaze of the moon, their hearts waged a silent war, each beat a reflection of the turmoil that raged within. And as the dawn approached, bringing with it the promise of revelations and confrontations, Ilara, Damien, and Lucas braced themselves for the challenges that lay ahead, their destinies intertwined in the fate of Shadowmere. The tension in Shadowmere reached a crescendo, fueled by the Nightshade's nefarious actions. Mysterious attacks on both vampires and werewolves escalated, each incident strategically crafted to deepen the distrust and animosity between the two factions. The town, once a haven of eerie calm, now teetered on the brink of chaos. In the heart of this brewing storm stood Ilara, Damien, and Lucas. Ilara, with her newfound understanding of the supernatural world and her unique position within it, became an unintentional symbol of unity. As the conflict intensified, she realized that she could no longer remain a passive observer. She had to act. The showdown unfolded on a night of a full moon, when tensions were at their highest. The Nightshade, emboldened by the growing discord, orchestrated an event that brought the vampires, werewolves, and humans of Shadowmere together in an explosive confrontation. Accusations flew, old wounds were reopened, and the air crackled with the threat of violence. Ilara, with a courage she never knew she possessed, stepped into the fray. Her voice, clear and steady, cut through the cacophony of rage and suspicion. She spoke of understanding, of the need to look beyond old prejudices and see the individuals behind the labels of vampire and werewolf. Her words, infused with genuine empathy and wisdom, reached the hearts of those gathered. As she spoke, something remarkable happened. Ilara's presence seemed to radiate a subtle, calming energy, a manifestation of her deep connection to both Damien and Lucas. This energy, a tangible representation of her love and acceptance, began to diffuse the hostility in the air. Damien and Lucas, standing by her side, lent their support, embodying the very unity Ilara spoke of. Damien, with his centuries of experience, provided a perspective that challenged the vampire's long-held beliefs. Lucas, with his charismatic presence, swayed the werewolves with his passionate plea for peace. The climax of the confrontation came when Ilara revealed the true identity of the Nightshade, exposing his manipulations and deceit. The realization that they had all been pawns in his game of power and division struck a chord within the crowd. The truth of Ilara's words, now undeniable, forged a new understanding among the vampires, werewolves, and humans. In the aftermath of this revelation, as the factions began to tentatively seek common ground, Ilara faced her own personal resolution. Her heart, which had been torn between her love for Damien and Lucas, now knew its true path. In a moment of profound clarity, she understood that her heart had room for both in different, yet equally meaningful ways. Ilara chose a future where she could love Damien, with his thoughtful soul and timeless wisdom, while also embracing the vibrant and protective love of Lucas. It was a decision not bound by conventional norms, but by the depth of her feelings and the unique circumstances of her life in Shadowmere. This resolution of the love triangle was a reflection of the broader harmony emerging in the town. Just as Ilara found a way to bridge the divide within her heart, so too did Shadowmere begin to heal, finding a new path forward where vampires, werewolves, and humans could coexist in an understanding born of shared struggles and mutual respect. The night of the showdown, under the watchful eye of the full moon, became a turning point for Shadowmere. It was a night where old animosities began to crumble, where the possibility of a peaceful coexistence emerged, and where love, in all its forms, triumphed over fear and hatred. In the aftermath of the climactic confrontation, Shadowmere emerged not as a town divided, but as a community united. The revelation of the Nightshade's machinations served as a catalyst for change, dissolving long-standing barriers and forging new bonds among its residents. Vampires, werewolves, and humans began to interact with a newfound respect, their shared experiences during the showdown opening their eyes to the possibilities of coexistence. Ilara, once an outsider, became a symbol of this new harmony. Her courageous stand and her unique relationships with Damien and Lucas had shown the town that love and understanding could bridge the widest of divides. The love triangle, which had once seemed an insurmountable complication, now flourished as a testament to the boundless nature of the heart. With Damien, Ilara explored the depths of an eternal love, one that transcended time and brought a profound understanding of the world's mysteries. Damien, in turn, found in Ilara a beacon of light that illuminated his dark existence, her presence a constant reminder of the beauty and vitality of life. Lucas and Ilara's relationship was a celebration of the present, a passionate and vibrant connection grounded in the realities of the here and now. Lucas, emboldened by Ilara's love, became an influential figure in bridging the gap between his pack and the other residents of Shadowmere. Ilara's life in Shadowmere became a harmonious blend of her relationships with both Damien and Lucas. She navigated her unconventional love with grace and openness, her heart big enough to encompass the different facets of her affections. Their bonds, unorthodox as they were, became a living example of how love could transcend traditional boundaries and societal norms. The town of Shadowmere, too, reflected this newfound acceptance. Where once there had been suspicion and fear, there was now curiosity and camaraderie. Vampires and werewolves began to share their knowledge and strengths, contributing to the town's well-being. Humans, no longer in the dark about the true nature of their neighbors, participated in this exchange, enriching the community with their diversity and resilience. Ilara's journey, which had started as a quest for knowledge, had blossomed into a life rich with love and understanding. She had not only uncovered the secrets of Shadowmere, but had also unraveled the mysteries of her own heart. Her story was a beacon of hope, showing that even in a world filled with supernatural beings and ancient feuds, the power of love and acceptance could pave the way for unity and peace. In her reflections, Ilara often thought about the many forms of love she had experienced: the deep, soulful connection with Damien, the fiery, passionate bond with Lucas, and the warm, respectful relationships she had built with the people of Shadowmere. Her life was a tapestry woven from threads of different colors and textures, each strand significant in its own way. As the story of Ilara, Damien, and Lucas came to a close, it left behind a legacy of change in Shadowmere. Their love story was a reminder that in a world of shadows and light, the most powerful force was the human heart, capable of bridging worlds and transcending the greatest of divides. In the quiet of the night, as Ilara gazed up at the starlit sky, she realized that the true magic of Shadowmere lay not in its supernatural inhabitants, but in the simple yet profound truth that love and acceptance were the keys to coexistence and harmony. Her journey had come full circle, not ending, but beginning